I believe Schism was 2 years ago, John, that we were up here? 4 years ago. Great beard hairs popped up. Anyway, without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome to stage Edinboro University's interim president, Mr. James D. Moran.
It really is a great pleasure for me tonight, really be called on to introduce this latest creative work of Lyons Den Productions with director John Lyons tonight. We're really pleased and honored that Edinboro University has been chosen to preview this latest film. There Are No Goodbyes is a fascinating film. I've been one of the privileged few that have been able to see the film before its premiere tonight. It's going to be shown tonight, tomorrow night. To me, film is really such an intriguing medium. In some ways, for me, it combines the beauty of photography or painting with the intricacies of literature. I often see each frame as a canvas. What you see in great films is you see the importance of lighting, of color, of the background detail, all that convey message, all that create a feeling in us. At the same time, we have dialogue that, creates tone and meaning, and really creates and develops characters. That really is what film is about. This is why I think you're going to really enjoy the film tonight. What you'll see is a glimpse in complicated lives. The lives of people you really end up caring about, thanks to the exceptional job that our actors and actresses have done. Film, when done right, I think connects our cognitive side with our emotional side. Good films leave us both thinking and feeling. And I want to give John and his crew tonight a real congratulations, because you really did that for me. I also kind of admit to being fascinated with the local flavor of this film. You'll hear some discussions tonight about the runway expansion in Erie and the community college issues in Erie. And I've been involved in both of those just in the last month. And I think that's also, for us here at Edinboro, part of the fun part of this film. We also see the local flavor and all the cast and crew that were involved. We are very proud that current students and Edinboro alums were really involved in the production of this, both in front of the camera and behind the camera. Why don't all the Edinboro alums or the current students who were involved in that production, please stand up and be recognized. As we look at some of the principles of this film, producer, director, writer John Lyons, producer, editor, and director of photography, Dorota Swies, and Andy Flatley, who both developed the story and musical score. They're all here tonight, and as mentioned, they're all going to have a conversation with you about the film in terms of question and answer after the screening. And I think that's, again, what makes this evening and the premiere such an important kind of event for us. This, as mentioned, is the second time Edinboro was chosen by Lyons Den to premiere a film. The first film, Schism, was about a man suffering Alzheimer's. Some of the cast of that is here as well. We drew a good audience back 4 years ago here at Cole Auditorium for that feature. That film went on to play in New York City, Los Angeles, and a lot of venues in between, and was also recognized with a number of film awards. We're confident, and I'm confident, that There Are No Goodbyes will achieve some of that same recognition and probably even greater success. So we're going to have John come up and kind of discuss the film and give a little introduction to it. John is a proud Edinboro graduate, class of 2000, graduate, bachelor's degree in computer science, minor in math, and he currently works with us and for us full-time in our technology and communications department. Started a film production company, web design company, Lyons then, and with Dorota in 2004, has started that company, and then since then has been director of the bi-weekly and popular Edinboro film series, director of the Film Society of Northwestern Pennsylvania, involved in a weekly film series in the Erie Art Museum. You know, we had a reception across the street in the Alumni House before this event. And John, I've got to say, my thrill in talking to your cast and crew, such admiration for you, such love for you, how you brought people together and to make something of exceptional quality. I think they all admire that skill that you have in developing them as a true family. So John, please come up and let's hear it for Edinboro's own.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Moran. Thank you, Greg, Rob. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I'm just really excited to get to the movie. The introductions were so great. I don't know what else to add at this point. Sit back, enjoy. We have a lot of the cast and crew here, as you've heard. Please stick around afterwards for the Q&A. A lot of us have worked really, really hard on this movie, and we'd love to share some of our experiences with you afterwards. So yeah, enjoy yourselves. Thank you.
Let's hear it for this great cast and crew up here. Come on up, Greg. I'll introduce all you guys once you're up here, once we can follow this. First of all, let's hear it from John C. Lyons, the writer and director of this fine film. Dorota Schmitz, director of photography and the producer. Andy Flatley did the story, the score, and all the props, along with Courtney. Matthew King, who played Oliver. Jennifer Hooper, who played Raina. The awesome Frederick, who played Fenris. And the ever popular now Kirsch, who played Jimmy. How did this all originate, John and Andy, and hit that first?
Should I start? Well, I came up with the story for the movie. I've been asked a bunch of times, where did it come from? And basically, I just wanted to work again with this guy. So I just kept throwing ideas at him. Eventually one stuck. We, Ape Lincoln, that movie didn't end up happening. We're working on Ape Lincoln, the first Bigfoot president.
Nice.
So that one didn't stick. But yeah, I came up with a kernel of an idea that John and I then, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 different incarnations of it before we finally stuck with something. So.
And John, what did you embellish off?
I did nothing.
You did nothing. How about Dorota? Dorota did everything.
That's right. Dorota always does everything. Yeah, so Andy came to us with the idea, and yeah, we started working on the outline, writing it. We had everything pretty solid when we went overseas to film, and then yeah, we'll go from there.
And what was that like going overseas? Speaking of that, those are my questions. And Dorota,
yeah,
had a great scene in that film. I loved it.
Yeah, Dorota could maybe talk a little bit about Ireland.
Yes, please.
No.
We, do you want to talk about Ireland? Keep going? Yeah, when we went to the Cliffs of Moher, if you aren't familiar with the Cliffs of Moher, they are awesome. And yeah, we got on a ferry boat to shoot the scenes from the ocean. And then Dorota and I, there's this big stone wall that's up that says, "Do not cross." or you will die or something. And so we waited till no one was looking and jumped over and, went up there. It was windy and just amazing. Do you have any comment?
Just want to say that it was very dangerous because there's really strong wind, so people are not allowed to get so close to the edge because the wind will blow them off. So we kind of took the risk, and John was kind of scared, and I said, "What?" I called him a name and said, "Let's do it. Let's do it, man." And we did, and nothing blew me off, so I'm here.
Awesome. How do you find these four wonderful people here?
Yeah, well, they can probably tell some of their stories how they got there, but yeah, we put out open auditions, and we had a couple hundred people come to 2 auditions. People could send us YouTube videos, DVDs, and then it was a long process. We did screen tests with some of our favorites together, and then a number of meetings because obviously Oliver and Raina had to have really good chemistry, as well as with Fenris and Jimmy. So maybe you guys want to talk a little bit about auditioning. Matt had to audition with 1,000 Rainas.
Yeah, please, Matt.
Well, my brother kind of talked me into going to the audition, so I showed up to the audition, and I did my audition. I was about to leave, and then he kind of chased me down and said, "Hey, will you come audition with like 20 other Rainas?" So I had to sit there for a couple hours and do some more, and then I came back the next week and did the same thing over again. It was a good process.
How about you, Jennifer?
I remember it was very cold and very long, but very much worthwhile. And I hadn't seen John actually in a couple of years at that point because we worked together on his first feature-length film, Schism. So I was a bit trepidatious about even going, even asserting myself. I wanted to be involved in any capacity, but I wasn't sure if he would, even consider me a part of his roster anymore because we had lost touch. And I figured, well, he had already developed a main roster after that. So I went there kind of very humbled but very prepared, and I did my best, and here I am.
Did Fred take a question?
Mine was by accident. I called John and then left a message, and he called me back. And
you can imagine getting a voicemail from Fred.
so he called me back, and he assured me come on down, and I felt that actually I felt that I didn't have a chance. But anyway, I went down to the audition, and I went down to play Jimmy. And I was prepared to play Jimmy. And being a novice, I hadn't had any experience. And John comes out, and he's looking around, and he says, "You, come here." And I went in, and he says, "I want you to play this Fenris character." And I was familiar with the character a little, but it just threw me for a loop, and I said, "Oh no," and it was like, I was frightened to death. But I gave myself a C+, and he must have thought I must have been a Fenris, so that's the way the audition went. And later on, I came back out, and he said, "Well, let's do Jimmy now." And I thought that went great. It went excellent, actually. And it was my first audition for anything. And I said, well, that's okay. And a couple of weeks, about a week later, I get a call for a screen test.
I met John when we did Schism. I got a part in that film 4 years ago. And when it was a very good experience for me, I really enjoyed doing film. And when I saw the auditions again in the paper for another film of his, I rushed right down and auditioned again. I don't think I was trying out for Fenris, but your part. But it's been an enjoyable experience.
Hey, Don, while we're over there with the microphone, since you are a veteran of so many local films, how did this one differ from the experience you had, for instance, with Schism and other films you've been in?
Well, most of the things I've done has been community theater, but I have done several films, a couple with John, another one here with the Dennis brothers. The only difference personally for me was the fact that I played myself basically in this film. I really didn't have to put much effort into it. So Matt was so easy, our characters meshed almost immediately, and it was a pleasure working with him. So the lines came very easily for both of us. I think it worked for you as well as myself. So that was real nice to work that way.
Excellent. How about that scene in the diner too? Was it difficult? I was going to ask you, John, as well. Some of the film was in very cramped quarters. I just wondered, since he was in that scene with those other gentlemen in the diner, what was that like filming, in such close quarters with people?
Yeah, I mean, visually, Dorota and I wanted to be kind of claustrophobic because, Oliver is, kind of surrounded by these very aggressive gentlemen at the table. So really, yeah, it was, I think we just shot it as kind of as close quarters as we could to kind of get that discomfort across.
And Fred, you said this is your first film?
Yes.
So what was it like? I mean, you said you were even studying for a different role of Jimmy, and you ended up playing the central, pivotal character of the whole film. I mean, now that you've seen it, was there any, thing that was real difficult that stood out in your mind, or something that you were real pleased with, or any favorite scenes you were doing there?
Well, one of the things that I liked about the Fenris character was that he was a man with purpose, and it's something that has molded my life too. And so that helped me be that character. I played myself too, but in a higher level. I don't know how that happened. John must have pulled that out of me or something. But it just it worked well. In fact, I went back over it. I can't duplicate it. John already tried it. But it was a challenge, and I'm glad that I had an opportunity to do that. I find that I had something more in me than I thought I had.
Excellent.
So I thank John for that.
And just before we go to the audience here too, Jennifer and Matt, same question. And now you saw the film, was there any memories you have of some of the scenes that you really stood out that were very difficult?
And the date scenes were always fun for us. Obviously we shared a lot of chemistry, and it was fun to eat and drink together, and we were bonding, between takes, and hilarious things would happen. We would say off-the-wall things and really break the ice. And I remember we used to go to the library together just to kind of rehearse our scenes beforehand, just to kind of break the ice further. And we just had a lot of great laughs, and chemistry all around. It was wonderful. It was a great experience.
Same deal. I had a pleasure working with every one of you. I think we all had great chemistry all together, especially with the characters and everybody. It was, I don't know, I can't even say it's a great experience.
John has a great way of bringing people together, and he just melds people. He brings out the best in people, and therefore there's always chemistry among diverse people, and it's a wonderful effect that he brings. Just wanted to add that.
We have connections in Poland to film and people to film, so it was a great opportunity to, any chance to film overseas, worked into the storyline of this guy here to show the scope and the reach of his society.
And I just want to add that Ireland is a very spiritual country, so I thought it was a perfect place to do the adjusting the human need. And also Poland has very strong a feeling that Poland is a chosen land, probably people don't know that, but Polish people are really proud and thinking that they suffer for the rest of the world, so it's also double meaning for that kind of story. And I thought that those places were very connected together because Poland and Irish called each other brothers in Europe, and so I thought it was a perfect place and perfect story for that kind of coincidence.
Sure, I guess my question is more a writing question when you wrote the film. Did you ever research autism or Asperger's or anything? It seemed like Oliver really did have a syndrome there. And I have some experience with those things, and I was just curious if you ever thought about that, or he really displays a lot of traits that are on the spectrum.
You know, we didn't research that or have that be an integral part of Oliver's character. It's more about the idea of isolation born from, being homeschooled and, the kind of heaviness of having to take care of his parents as they, as they go through the health problems. And then it was just more about his isolation than it would have been, because I'm not that familiar with autism or things like that, but I would assume that it's not just something that you suddenly don't have anymore. And as we saw with Oliver's character, he kind of woke up as the story progressed.
If I may also previewing the film, that was one thing I noticed that stood out as Matt and your character is during the first half of the film, you were sort of in that daze, and then definitely woke up. I think it was amazing just the transformation that took place very rapidly once you left that diner, so that was pretty cool. Definitely.
I was wondering, did you disrupt the patrons at the Orange Park Diner when you filmed that? And was it filmed in the morning or in the afternoon? And also, what's the story on the house across from the Quinn Funeral Home?
Story on what?
What was the second question?
What's the story on the house that you were in across from the Quinn Funeral Home on 7th and Liberty?
Thanks for saying the address. The Lawrence Park Diner, we, with all our locations, we got a hold of them ahead of time. We love the outside of the diner, of course, diner spelled with an O, very eerie, red, white, and blue, perfect. And we got a hold of the owners, the Stanleys, and there's, which day of the week? A couple days of the week they close at, I believe, 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and so we would come in then and film basically until dark or until we were done with the scenes. I think we filmed there, 3 days? Right? So yeah, they were very flexible. With many of our scenes, for the extras, on our Facebook and on our official site, we would post that we needed extras, and we would just have people email us. We would say generally how many people we would need and age groups and stuff like that. We're very lucky to get a lot of great people, so we pretty much filled the diner, and yeah, it was great. All the locations we filmed at were awesome. The house is my grandmother's house, and I think she is still in the audience. Velma Ferguson, I want to say thank you so much for putting up with me, Matt, and Dorota for so many days. I'm sure that was a great experience for her. Yeah, we filmed many days at my grandma's house.
I couldn't help noticing a self-referential part where they go into the museum and there's actually a poster that says "There are no goodbyes." Whose idea was that?
At this point, I don't actually remember. We knew that the character of Raina was going to be an artist and she was going to have an art show at the museum, but I guess it just kind of adds a nice. It seemed to make sense at the time. That's kind of I have no idea. After a certain point, John and I, it just becomes something more.
You're right, there was a small poster that was titled "There Are No Goodbyes," and there was a photo, one of her photos featured on, it was black and white, and it says Raina Cowell underneath, so you're absolutely right. It was, yeah.
What point in the process did you actually score the film, and what were your thoughts integrating that with the film that you shot?
Well, I began, the main theme for the movie that you hear at the very end in the credits was actually written in 2002. And wasn't necessarily the basis for the score, but it became the title of the movie. And I just thought it worked really well. But for a couple years, actually, I took last year and I wrote about 40 or 50 minutes of music that almost none of it ended up in the movie. Because until you actually see what the movie looks like and how the music, the score lines up with the movie, it's kind of hard to determine what to use. But we waited till John was pretty close to having picture locked, you know, that the movie was pretty much in its final form, and then we started, you know, putting the music towards it then. So yeah, I ended up having to write, you know, worked out to be about 20 minutes of original music, and we had a very short amount of time, so I think I wrote that maybe 2 weeks. With, you know, most of the pieces have between 3 and 14 tracks a piece, so it went fast. It was, yeah.
And Andy.
Oh, yeah, and there's also the, when you purchase the DVD, it comes with a CD soundtrack as well. But what we did is we did a contest. I wanted to be able to include artists in the area, and also any artists, even if they moved away. If they were from here, we did a music competition where people would send in between 1 and 3 songs, and then, you know, we'd listen to them, and then the winners would be placed in the movie where we could, but also on the CD that's with the DVD. And yeah, it was tough because we just have so many people in the area that, you know, are pretty amazing at what they do. So, and some of that music actually ended up in the score. The song that you hear during the wedding scene, that was actually written by David Peters. And, you know, clap for David. So, yeah, so not all of this.
The difference between writing songs and a score has to be like oceans apart. I mean, can you hit up on that? Like what the difference is between this, you know, the songwriting process versus scoring an actual film?
I actually, before I did this, I had a friend of mine who's a professor of music composition out in Kansas City, and we talked for a long time. He explained to me an approach that worked really well for me. It's the idea that the music has to act kind of like the fog. You know, it's kind of a fog that shows up in the scene where it just kind of permeates everything, but it's intrusive. It doesn't stick out too much. And if you're going to have an element that really presents itself, then it has to be as clear and concise as the dialogue or any of the actors who are in the scene. And so that is, of course, very different than writing a song. You know, writing a song has much more of a depending on what you're doing, you know, a structure that's already laid in, because if you're writing a pop song, there's a certain formula that's been used for, the last 200 years. But when you're writing a score, you have the picture cut, or, you know, locked, and then you're writing right to the action. And, you know, to not be there, but yet be the thing that helps influence the emotions is, you know, kind of key.
What was up with the beacon that you set off on the cliffs?
There's a lot in this movie about the idea of, you know, you see the actions that human beings take, you know, no matter how small, kind of can have an effect as far as, you know, the things being interconnected in that way. But there was also this other component that we wrote in where it's that we also have a direct interaction with the world that we live in, and you know, direct tangible interaction. And so the idea was that while human beings are kind of calibrating through their actions certain potentials, that you also kind of have to calibrate the earth as well. And so then those things kind of work together.
So I noticed that with Schism and again with There Are No Goodbyes, you tend to lean towards the human condition. So I wanted to know if there's anyone on the cast, anyone on stage in particular, that can maybe speak to how this movie affected you. Maybe there was something in it that helped you grow or helped you move out of your cocoon, so to speak, as our main character did.
My character, I myself, is religious, and pace, which falls in line with the theme of the movie and the theme of Fenris and the purpose that he was trying to lead Oliver in that particular direction. And the bottom line is we all have to find that within ourselves. As you saw in the movie, towards the end, you know, he had to make the decision, which Fenris knew that he was going to do that anyway, because we grow. And I've grown since this movie is one of the things that helped me in this movie was Matt is so easy to work with, and our age difference a little. He felt like my son. Okay, and me teaching my son. And so that made the character come out of me a lot more. And so I just think that my inner self came out of the movie. So you can get on a personal note with me now.
The connection with Lublin, Poland, which is actually Erie's sister city. Did you? I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. The one in the middle in the back,
Dorota.
From Poland.
Dorota.
Dzień dobry, actually. Did you? I mean, did you meet her before you wrote the script? Did you, when you were writing the script, did you know that you would be traveling to Lublin, Poland? And I mean, the whole thing with the connectivity, with showcasing Erie and how it's connected with that sister city. Was there a format before you decided to gallivant across Poland and Europe?
Well, I was wandering around Poland with my camera and I saw this beautiful woman. And I forced her to come back with me. No, actually.
You have to pay my family 2 cameras.
2 cameras. Dorota and I, we own Lyons Productions, and we're married, and we work together. So, yeah, we've known each other for a bit of time. What was that face? Sorry.
And that was good. I think you answered.
Yeah, I think
You're
I did.
married. All right, there you go.
I like how you matched Oliver's character developments at the changing of the seasons. Was that like on purpose, or did that just happen that way?
Yeah, it was for sure all on purpose. Yes, we wanted to start off in a normal Erie winter, the Arctic tundra, and have him be, isolated, cold, dead. I got a question about that, John. And then he meets, Raina and Fenris just about when spring breaks.
The opening shot and some of the other scenes of Oliver walking around in Erie, was that shot in the morning, evening? And also, how did you shoot in public so much? Might be a question for Dorota too, to really frame that, where people weren't looking at the camera. And I mean, did you do this, with a hidden camera or smaller cameras? I mean, people want to know. I sort of know how you did it, but I mean, other people would like to know.
Good question. Actually, the camera we use, I believe, Mark, are you using a Panasonic DVX? I'm not sure. A camera very similar to the one Mark's using in the front. Just one camera. We've always used just one camera for all of our movies. We wanted to purposefully do this movie differently than we did Schism. Schism, we were very concerned in taking a lot of time to set up the lighting and make sure everything was perfect, for an hour or so before, kind of like a typical Hollywood movie. The actors have to wait around, we set everything up, then they can come in, we do that shot, then they leave, and we set up again. The idea was to kind of make it more organic and intimate on purpose, so, instead of following around the actors in a kind of a controlled environment with a boom microphone, we had them wear the clip-on wireless mics and just kind of send them out there. So a lot of times, yeah, the people that you see are not part of the movie, and a lot of times they are. Do you have any other comments about it? cinematography, the delicious turn.
Yeah, one of the things though that you don't see is that like we have one scene where these two lovely people here were on their first date, and we missed the shot where there was a gentleman running down 10th Street, and like shorts and a t-shirt with a mattress on his back, holding a mattress right down the center of the street. Just book it. Like those things that happen, we just didn't get those on. So yeah.
I know you crowdfunded this, or at least part of it.
Crowdfunded.
What were your thoughts and feelings and anything else about that?
Yeah, I'll talk about it a little bit. It was great. Crowdfunding. There's a few different websites. There's one called Kickstarter, and there's another one called Indiegogo. And the way that it works is that you put up a presentation video saying, okay, well, we're making a movie, and we have a budget of so many dollars that we want to hit, and here's what are the project's going to be, as well as if you donate on different levels, what you can get back from it. Kind of starting at beginning levels where it's like a thank you, in the newsletter, and then all the way down to executive producer, where you get to see, footage before anybody else. You get to see rough cuts before anybody else. And so what it is that there's these different levels. People donate, and then the money goes towards the project. And we put up a budget that we were thinking about for about $5,000 for some equipment, and in the end we got $5,500. Yes. So we hit, it worked really well, and it was I don't know, it was really neat. It just hard for me to ask anybody for help. So when people gave us that, it's pretty neat.
Yeah, I would say we always self-finance all of our projects, and this time, we needed just a little extra more to kind of get more equipment to do exactly what we wanted to do with this movie. And it worked, and we were able to keep it kind of interactive with everybody. Some of you are probably in the audience, and we really appreciate your support, and it definitely helped make the movie what it is today. So it was very successful. So thanks to those of you that are in the audience.
How difficult was the love scene?
It was fun.
It was fun.
I was blushing the whole time. I've never blushed so hard. I mean, my face, my whole head was on fire. It was excruciating, but it was exhilarating, and it was fun.
Wow, man.
Yeah, that was about the least amount of direction we got throughout the whole. So we just said, all right, here, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Take her clothes off.
Good.
Awesome. Many careers have been started that way. And ruined. Anyway. Yes, that was, and again, Matt and Jennifer there. What are some of your favorite scenes that you really you nailed it, and you were really proud of in this film?
I'm proud of the whole film. I mean, just every scene I got to do work with these amazing guys. It was, there's not a certain one that sticks out. The wedding scene was really fun to do. It was a beautiful day out. It was just a perfect day to film everything, so that was a good day. We had a lot of fun moments. There was a scene where after my character gets out of the car after going out with these guys for the first time, we had a scene up on the porch, and that took about 2 hours to do because we couldn't stop laughing. We had lights in our faces the whole night, and they just did something. And I think John was getting a little, just hurry up and get it over with.
Yeah, for those of you that purchased the DVD, you will see there's outtakes and about 23 minutes of deleted scenes, but you'll see a lot of the good times. I just want to say thank you guys so much for coming out and sticking around. Thank you so much to the cast and crew. You guys are all amazing, all of you out there. Yes. If you like the movie, please spread the word. The tough work has just begun for us on this project. Now we send the movie out to film festivals and film series and distributors, and work really, really hard to try and get this movie on as many, in front of as many people as we can. So please help us spread the word, and thank you, Max.
And thank you everybody on this stage for a wonderful film and allowing me to be up here.